You are listening to Naked Soul Reflections, Mindful Moments for Clothes-Free Living, with your host, Hantune Hart.
Greetings, everyone. Hantune Hart here, and welcome to another episode of Naked Soul Reflection. Recently I've gotten present to the fact that I had been using, on occasion, my meditation practice to erase or change how and what I feel. Usually I'll engage in meditation at least once a day, sometimes twice, and I found myself recently using it kind of like a drug. So if I was feeling nervous or feeling anxious or worried or obsessing over something, I would think, okay, how can I calm myself down? How can I fix it? How can I fix myself so that I'm not acting out or having all these random feelings or my thoughts are bouncing around? So how do I fix it? And I would sit down and think, okay, I'm going to meditate. It's going to be great. I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I'm going to be more calm, more yogic. I'm going to be better, and everything will be right in the world. And I won't worry about this thing or that thing, or I'll just be in a state of peace and enlightenment. Yes. And that worked out not so well. If anything, once I would finish sitting for 20, 25 minutes or whatever, I would actually just be more present to the fact that I was nervous, anxious, having all these feelings, having all these thoughts, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, oh, I must have done it wrong. Like, surely I should get up from meditation and walk about as if I'm walking on air and water and everything is good. And I shouldn't be nervous anymore before I go do something, and it should be great and wonderful. And no, none of that happened. I still felt what I felt, and I still had lots of thoughts, lots of feelings, and I found myself wondering, like, okay, so what do I do now? My happy little meditation drug didn't work. So what do I do now? And just recently, when I was listening to a particular guided meditation on discovering peace from Meditation Oasis podcast, I had a wonderful experience of hearing what the facilitator was saying. Perhaps there are lots of thoughts going around, lots of them. And perhaps there's all these feelings. And she gave me the invitation to not try to fix it, to not try to change it or manipulate it or perfect it or anything, but to just let those things be. So do I feel it in my body somewhere? Am I clenching in my jaw? Am I sort of sunken in my chest? Am I breathing? Do my lungs feel collapsed? And even in the moment of meditation, I thought, okay, I know exactly where she's going to go with this. Yes. And then she'd make another turn, and I'd think, no, that's not, we weren't going down the road of establishing like some sort of ethereal, otherworldly peace. She's actually just having me get present to what's actually happening right now inside of me and not doing a blessed thing about it. The invitation is to just be, as opposed to thinking, okay, I'm going to fix this, and if I just adjust my seat, then the energy will flow, and it will align, and I'll be perfect. No, just get present to the feelings, get present to the thoughts, And then actually what she did was offer the invitation to change perspective. And so there was these lines and these words that would say things like, now you have the thoughts, you have the feelings, see them from the perspective of being in the backdrop of peace. So there's stillness between all the thoughts and between all of the feelings and emotions. We can see them the same way that we're looking at a paper cutout. If you look at like a paper cutout of a snowflake, let's say you just put that paper cutout on the ground. You look at it and you can see, okay, there's the snowflake. But if you look in between the cutout pieces, you see the floor underneath it. And then changing the perspective to see the floor all around it. And so the snowflake is still there. That paper cutout of a snowflake is still there on the ground. But rather than get absorbed and obsessed in my attention and energy and focus on the snowflake, seeing how it's sitting on a bed of peace, perhaps the carpet or the floor underneath it and in between it, seeing that as stillness and peace. And this one snowflake is just one snowflake in the context of stillness and peace. And that was very powerful for me. Just a shift in perspective. Okay, I feel anxious about this thing. There's nervousness about that. My hands are feeling cramped, a little sunk in the chest. But all of that, rather than getting absorbed and obsessed with it, seeing that as just the backdrop of being. And at one point in the sitting meditation of that session, I opened my eyes and I saw my body. And for a moment, I realized that no matter what thoughts or feelings were floating around, my body remained the same. It's not like some crazy, like a rat jumped out of my skin or anything like that. My body was constant. And certainly our thoughts and feelings, our emotions can affect how we feel, and they have very, very real impacts on our physiology. But to choose this perspective of realizing that those things are not all that I am, that there is still a whole me, a bigger picture of me just being outside of all of these little thoughts, all the minutia. There's still just me. And that was so powerful. And that's one of the things that I have loved about my clothes-free journey. This practice of just being in my own skin reminds me that underneath all the layers, underneath everything, what I choose to wear, what I choose to put on, whether it's a dress, whether it's yoga pants, whether it's a sports bra, whether it's choosing to put on this thought or choosing to worry about what's happening at work, where's my career going, am I going to stay with it? What are happening with all of these other opportunities? Where am I going to live next? Okay, so all of that's happening, but there's still, those things do not define me. I still stand in my own skin just as I am. I stand and I just am. So powerful to realize that these thoughts do not have to define me, that these concerns don't have to define me, that they can be there, that they can exist and they can be happening. And in the backdrop of it all, at the deepest, most fundamental, basic root of it, at the heart of the heart of the heart, there is just me as I am. So just as I take this on as my practice, my life practice, I offer it to you too. Wherever you go this week, whatever comes up for you, there's an opportunity to get present to it without trying to ignore it, erase it, pretend like it didn't happen, pretend like it's not there, pretend like everything is fine. There's a wonderful opportunity to just get present to it and to then shift perspective and see that these questions, these concerns, these musings, they're just snowflake cutouts on the bed of carpet that is you. You are this expansive being, a ground that never ends, and all these little leaves of thoughts and stuff, they're just that. And can you come back every day? Take some time. Can you come back to the unlabeled, the unnamed, the essence of you as you? The essence of who you are. And in gratitude and contentment and joy for just being, living from that truth, even as these other things exist and happen. So let's practice that together this week. And I send my light out to you. Namaste, friends.